I follow the movement of the negative space, it's going to undulate. Hi, I'm Bob Rankin. Welcome to my free art lesson. I'm going to be working with using up a lot of extra paint when you finish the canvas, and it's all artists run into this, whether it be on palette paper, whatever, and I just have gobs of paint left over. I don't want to try to squeeze it back into the tube because that's almost impossible, even though I have done it before. But I want to put it to use, and perhaps I've done a painting that has a very low surface level to it, where there's no texture or no structure to it at all. This gives me the wonderful opportunity just to experiment and have fun with building up different textures and different structures using a palette knife and all this extra paint. So I have this illustration board, this wonderful board by Soho, and it's a great surface to experiment with. I also have some found objects from around the house. In my studio, I have some old scraps of foam core here, but most importantly, I have these great palette knives. So I have several different sizes of palette knives, and what I'll be doing, I'm just going to start off, and I'm thinking about perhaps creating some type of skyline or some type of building scape or kind of a fantasy scape here. And so I'm going to start spreading this paint out. And you can see when you're using a palette knife, you're just getting a great surface area. And I want it to really stand out. I want it to look as three-dimensional as it possibly can. So right now I'm working from the top to the bottom and from the back to the front. So I'm assuming that this might be some type of skyscape. And I love how that palette knife just automatically blends this paint in depending on how much pressure you're putting on it. Whew. Let's introduce a little bit warmer color down here. I'm bringing in some yellow mixed in with that phthalo blue. And again, I am being very liberal in my use of paint here. And it's using all that extra paint that might have gone to waste. And if I was looking at this from the side, I would think that some of this paint is probably standing up at least 1/4 of an inch. And because it's acrylic, it will maintain that shape. It'll look really good under special lighting like track lighting. Look what happens when I bring some of that, oh yeah, blue down on top of it. So oftentimes when I'm working on an abstract painting, it starts to develop a dialogue with me, and it kind of tells me through the interaction of the paint what direction I might want to push it in. I'm still going to hint at buildings because of the width of these palette knives, and especially I'm going to go ahead and trade this one out for a longer palette knife. It's very subtle right here. Bring in a little unexpected color here. Some of the color complement. The color complement, of course, of blue is orange. I'm also using some of this wonderful Australian sienna. People oftentimes will say, well, what is that? And so obviously I'm trying to get you to use your imagination quite a bit. This is that great burgundy that Matisse puts out that I'll add for a little bit of contrast. So here you can see different types of structures that I'm building up. Now another method that you can use with the palette knife, if you wanted to create a different texture, is to come back in and lift that up. I'm pulling that back and forth, top and to down to bottom, and you can see that that creates a different surface and a different texture in its own right. So I have very thick right there. I can use the edge of the palette knife to create a rhythm coming all the way down. Yes, that's fun. And now at this point, I'm going to bring in the foam core. I'm going to use that to create more of a vertical. I can also use the edge to print on that. So there you can see we have a very abstract cityscape. I hope you've enjoyed this. Try this at home. It's great fun.